And last but not least, I'm going to show you how to make a jus, a red wine jus.
Ooh. That's good. I've always wanted to do this.
Great, because it's one of those sauces that just constantly come back to. You know, making a steak. Oh, yeah. This was like, you know, when you make a steak for me and then, or it's date night and want to impress someone, this is the ultimate sauce.
Okay. I'm in. I'm sold. Right, let's do it. What do we need? Let's go. I'm in. Where's my steak? Oh, that comes later.
Yeah, though you'll get your piece of meat later.
Okay.
First things first, you want to, all the jus will start off is with, jus typically means gravy in French. And I had that on for a reason. Oh, just leave it then. Jus means gravy in French, and it's derived from mostly using like the sauces or drippings from when you're doing like a roast.
Okay.
But I'm also going to be using beef stock. So I've got this beautiful, look how gelatinous that is.
Wow.
Like, you know, when it gives a jiggle and a wiggle, it's the good stuff.
You know it's the good stuff.
Yeah. That's all that lovely collagen and stuff that's from that bone broth, the beef stock that has just been reduced down from those bones, from that roast meat, into this lovely wiggly sauce. That is the heart of the jus, and jus is a reduction of that sauce. But I'm going to make a red wine reduction to really give a little oomph to the jus.
Okay.
So, obviously we need to start off with a good plonk.
Cheap plonk.
A cheap plonk or a good plonk, whatever your budget can allow.
Well, you're basically reducing it again, right? So you're not going to be drinking it.
No.
So you don't want the good stuff, really. Do they use the good stuff in restaurants? Probably
Oh
not.
yeah.
They do.
They do. I think all the die-hard restaurants will obviously, like, you know, fine dining Michelin restaurants will use a very good wine because we don't believe in using, again, like with stocks, they're not rubbish bins. Yeah. Even though it evaporates away, you still want that amazing flavour in there.
Okay.
And just like with the just like with the Beurre Blanc, we're going to add in, very similar to that wine reduction, some sliced shallots. And I'm slicing them so that you really get all that flavour from the shallot. We're just going to bring that to a boil and reduce it just like the other one until it's a few tablespoons, and then we're going to add that to our beef stock, which also is going to be reducing at the same time. You can use this red wine reduction with, like I say, the meat sauces, the drippings. You add it in at the end and whisk it to emulsify it to make a really nice jus.
Okay, I've got time.
Yeah, this is plenty.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll show everyone how much I've got now.
Let's give it a wash first. Put the spoons on the garden. Just a bit. If I was making this in a big batch, I would need almost like half a bunch. That'll be enough.
Okay. Looks good so far. Fairly straightforward.
Yeah. So we are reducing our red wine reduction and our beef stock at the same time, and then we're going to combine them, and that makes a jus. Jus is basically a lot lighter, looser. Gravy is thickened with the roux, so butter, flour. A lot thicker. Probably have it with like a roast dinner. The jus is what I have with steak or some sort of roast meat, lamb, anything. A lot more work, I think, in the jus because you want to get a lot of flavour in there. Actually, they both all hard work.
So do you think...
You've got the principles.
Yeah, so if you're making a jus, you're putting in a lot of effort and time. You want it to sing. You want it to be the best thing on the plate, right? So you need to put a lot of time, care, and energy into this as well.
Yeah.
Almost more than what you're putting into cooking the meat.
I think the worst thing you could do is maybe like over reduce everything, and then you just end up with like this treacly, sticky sauce. Yeah. And you've got all that hard work in making your beautiful stock and your reduction. I'm gonna add some peppercorns in there too. So shallots, garlic, thyme or herbs. You could also use some rosemary in there, and peppercorns. Aromats is what we call them in the kitchen.
Okay.
Let's bring it to boil. And also our beef stock is reducing. Yeah, I've just had this on full blast, and we've reduced it just as much as we did for the Beurre Blanc. See, there's a little bit there. We could go a little bit more, I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to turn that off. And
Okay. Oh, I can see this is sort of simmering away nicely.
yeah, so this is our beef stock just purely reduced down to this. Can you see how shiny it's gone?
Yeah, it's glistening.
It's glistening. So we're going to strain this red wine reduction
Okay.
into here.
Do we need to push it down with something?
Can do, but it's all right.
Squeeze it all out.
No, that's okay.
No? Okay. Got enough there.
I got enough there.
Good yield.
So you see how that red wine reduction has made this a beautiful red jus. You can't, I think, personally, you'd want to reduce that even more so.
Yeah, it's a bit watery.
Yeah, so a jus is meant to be like more loose,
Okay.
more watery.
Okay.
Like remember when you go to a restaurant, like we've been to like some fine dining restaurants and they give you a jus and it just coats the meat and it's
Yeah.
nice sauce.
But
It's
I know,
not
what
like,
I know what you mean. It needs to be a little bit more reduced. It's not a
Yeah.
gravy.
no.
Like we were just saying earlier, like a gravy, you'd often ask for more if you're having like a Sunday roast. But
Yeah,
as a
because
chef, it's like...
I'm from my father's side is from up north of England, and we just douse a lot of our roast dinners in gravy. I don't know about you guys, but I
mean,
love
if the
a lot of
gravy's good,
sauce.
yeah.
If the gravy's good, yes.
Yeah,
But when it comes to jus, I think like a good chef, a good team would know the exact amount of sauce
per dish.
per dish.
Yeah.
I do. It's one of my grudges is when you don't get enough jus for a dish because, you know, when something's a little bit too dry. But
Yeah.
a good chef should know the exact amount that you should provide. Also, because when you get a lot of jus is very concentrated in flavour.
True. So it
It's
can
not-
be the right amount of salty, the right amount of...
Yeah, and obviously if
Umami.
you add more or too much or too little, it just throws the balance off. I think the thing with fine dining restaurants compared to say like a gastropub, it's all about, well, even gastropubs. I've worked in gastropubs. But a good dish and a good chef will know the right consistency, amount, and balance for a dish. Yeah. That's slowly thicken up now. Can you see how the bubbles are getting a little bit smaller?
I do love it though when you have a little extra on your plate
Oh.
and you've got
I know where
room
you're
for the bread. You've still
Right.
got leftover bread from the bread course. And you get to
And you scarpetta it up.
yes,
Ooh.
very good, very good.
Okay, now this for me is much better consistency.
Wow. Yeah.
You'll see like the bubbles go really, really small.
Right.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah. I
So
see what you're
the
saying,
the
yeah.
water evaporating, the bubbles go
It's harder
smaller.
for the bubbles to blow
good.
up, so they become smaller. Wow.
I think that is a good. You
That's
want
really
to
good.
make sure you're not reducing it too much because then it can taste almost burnt. But my secret tip here now is to add a little cheeky knob of butter in. And this, just a small amount, is going to turn it into this silky, umptuous sauce that... No, darling, you want to whisk it in.
Okay.
Again, it's like an emulsification. You want to whisk it in.
Okay. Oh yeah, it's sort of thickening.
Glisten, makes it glisten.
I won't say thickening, but yeah,
It won't thicken
it's
it,
like-
it's just glistening it. And
It
that
is, it
is
is.
a real like tip that I learnt in culinary school.
it takes out some of those bubbles and it just looks more complete.
There you go.
Like
Show.
a wow.
Oh, I just got jus everywhere.
It's like a copio or yeah, that looks really nice.
I could almost bathe in that. Probably
Yeah,
would if I could.
That is amazing.
Now, if I pour this into... I
Well,
wanna
good thing I
get-
bought some sourdough this morning.
Oh, what
That with a bit of butter plus that. And some
sourdough? Yeah, I mean,
maybe some mussels.
no.
No?
I think I'm just going to have to make a nice piece of meat to go with this. I know, I'm getting pretty excited here. We've got all these beautiful sauces. Look how it just glistens.
That's very
Let me
special.
just move this induction so you can see. Oh, that's hot. That is just glistening away. So
Beautiful.
we'll recap all of our sauces.
Okay, so we've done 5 sauces.
Yes.
We're really happy. Well, I'm really happy with the look of all of those. Now we just need to make the dishes to match the sauce or just experiment. Well, you know what to do, but I would experiment now.
I'm all for experimenting, but just to recap, Hollandaise. Really great with having it with asparagus,
Poached eggs, English muffin,
yeah, you name it.
fries.
Really, really delicious. Really lovely sauce. A velouté, so it's like the sauce, the puree. I would love to have a roast chicken breast and pour that creamy sauce over the top. You could even make it like a creamy white velouté, so add more cream if you want it super creamy. This one is the Beurre Blanc. Again, delicious with fish.
Yeah, I
grilled
imagine
fish.
a nice white fish on the barbie, a little bit of this on top.
Oh, delicious. Or
Yeah.
even like a grilled salmon, any fish,
Vegetables?
any veg. Beautiful with vegetables, actually.
Yeah. Nice.
The Béchamel sauce is fantastic as a cheese sauce. So this is the white base. Add some grated cheese while it's nice and warm. Make a lasagna, macaroni cheese.
What's the gratin dish? Yeah, the potato gratin.
Potato gratin, or you
Yeah.
can make add the bechamel with some like leeks, mustard,
Yeah, that sounds
little
great.
breadcrumbs on the top in a little ramekin like this. Perfect with the side when you're doing like roast meats, and of course the sexy red wine jus.
Very nice.
This
is so good. It's like the power of the smell. It's overpowering the others.
This is like the sultry sexy sauce.
Yeah.
This one over your grilled meats or even fish. I've had it with fish before, like a turbot. Fantastic.
But generally like a nice fillet or
you know how I love
ribeye
a good old piece of meat.
Yes. All right. So that's it.
That's it for this week. I hope you've learned something. Have you?
I have. Yeah. It's
Great.
been very, very insightful.
Good.
Thank you.
You're welcome, darling. And I hope you give us a like, subscribe, and if you haven't already, give us a comment. What would you like to learn next week? Or is there a masterclass that you particularly would love to learn, or a technique you'd love to learn? I'm more than happy to read your comments. And tag me on Instagram at Auntie Liz Cooks. I will review your creations and your dishes if you tag me.
Yeah, and don't bother finding me on Instagram. I'm sure you've got plenty of other more interesting people to follow. So
That's not true.
Thanks, guys.
Peanut allergy. No, you can't say that about yourself.
I'll see you next week.